Good afternoon. So, welcome to another exciting edition of Reading with Mr. Eble. We're still going through Miscalculations of Lightning Girl. Thanks to all of you that jumped into our Zoom sing along to Mr. Keller. We'll post a video later on today of the joyful noise that was made. But again, thanks for tuning on in. We'll get started with Chapter 19. Lucy, what? I look up. Levi stands in the doorway, his camera hanging around his neck. Did you take my picture? Maybe. He steps inside. Cherish will be here in a minute. Time to go. You shouldn't take someone's picture without asking. He shrugs. And you shouldn't cheat. Seriously? You're still upset that I copied off of you on the first day of school? It was the second day, and yes, Mr. Stoker will know it wasn't me. Will never know it wasn't me. He'll always think that I might be the cheater. He doesn't think you're the cheater. Levi's eyes focus on the floor. I told him it was me. I jerk back in the chair. When? I don't know. Sometime that week. Why? I mean, we kind of got away with it. This doesn't make sense. He didn't have to say anything. Levi shrugs again. Whatever. Who's going to figure it out anyway? You get good grades. I'm the one failing his class. You are? I try to sound surprised. I've seen all 7 of Levi's grades. According to those, he's got a 69 average. He's not failing. Yet. Never mind. He steps closer. What are you doing? I flip over the piece of paper I've been scribbling numbers on. Are you doing homework? He asks. Sort of. I shove the paper in my pocket and then coat my hands in sanitizer. I've only made it through 57 adoption applications, but the patterns are already clear. I need to come back. We leave the office, walking past the dog kennels. Even with all the barking, I can hear people arguing in the lobby. Levi holds the door open for me. It's because of your germ issues, not because I'm a gentleman, he says. I know. Still, thanks. In the lobby, a woman in dirty jeans and a faded green t-shirt, like the number 14, is standing at the counter yelling at Noah. In one hand, she has an e-cigarette, and the other, a leash. The dog at the end of it trembles and tries to hide between her thick legs. You gotta take him, the woman yells. I tap my toe 3 times and look into the parking lot. I don't see Cherish's car. Lady, that's not how this works. Noah stares at her hard. You're a shelter, ain't ya? She points her cigarette at his nose. Noah cocks his head. I ain't a shelter. I'm a volunteer and a freaking pre-med student. You need to fill out your form and we'll add you to the waiting list. I don't have time for that. What's going on? Claire walks into the lobby with Wendy right behind her. This woman is trying to surrender an unverified dog, Noah explains. She thinks she can drop the animal off without following procedure. Claire smiles. I'm sorry, we just can't take any dog, ma'am. We are not the county animal control. This is a private, non-profit shelter. Well, where do you get your dogs from? I've explained this, Noah shakes his head. I'm going on break. He hops over the counter and heads out the front door. You fill out a surrender form, Claire says, then one of our volunteers will visit y'all. We need to ensure that the dog is healthy and friendly. Healthy? There's that word again. What does that mean for a dog? He's right here, the woman says, and she tugs hard on the leash and pulls the dog forward. The mutt tucks his tail and keeps his head low. He's short and looks like a fluffy beagle. If our staff thinks the animal can be adopted, we will put him on the waiting list. Waiting list? How long does that take? Depends, Claire says. Of course she doesn't have exact numbers. How could she, with her current filing system? We only have 18 kennels, Claire continues, and they're all filled. Probably have 10 dogs ahead of him. The woman groans. I'm moving. My husband lost his job. I can't pay to get my car fixed. I'm sorry, Claire says. We want to help. She holds out a hand for the dog to sniff. He moves slowly closer until Wendy sneezes. Then he jumps back behind the woman. Poor boy. Levi sits on the filthy floor right in front of him. You're a good-looking dog. What kind of dog is he? Wendy asks. Levi lifts his camera to take pictures. The dog puts his nose all over the lens. Heck if I know, the woman says. He's just cute, and that's what we call him. I bet you'll find a home real quick, Levi says to the dog. I bet he will, Claire agrees. Fine, give me them papers, the woman growls. Certainly, Claire hands her a clipboard. Can you hold this? The woman offers the leash to Levi. Sure. She uncaps a pen with her teeth and starts writing. The phone rings, and as Claire walks behind the counter to answer it suddenly, like it was all planned, the woman drops the clipboard and runs out the front door. She isn't very fast, but it's not like Wendy and I can tackle her. Wait, Claire yells. The woman doesn't. The dog tries to run too, but Levi holds on to the leash. Noah comes back in. Did that woman just ditch her dog? Yes. Should we call the police? Wendy asks, pulling out her cell phone. I don't think an actual crime has been committed. No, Claire says. This happens a lot. I'll drive the dog over to animal control. Really? Levi asks. But they might kill him, Wendy says. Euthanize, and that's a last resort, Claire corrects. Lucy, can you hand me the clipboard? I bend to pick it up. I avoid looking at the dog. That might be sentenced to death. With only 2 fingers, I turn the clipboard over. The woman didn't get very far. She only wrote the animal's name, Cutie Pie. I stop and stare at the paper, like I might be reading it wrong. Pie is spelled like the mathematical expression, not the pastry. I don't know if the woman is a bad speller or is just in a hurry. Still, I feel this is a sign. Nana sees signs in everything. Sometimes the cosmos or God is trying to tell us something, like if she finds $1, which means God wants her to buy a lotto ticket. Other than being struck by lightning, I've never gotten a sign from God, but that was a pretty big one. Pie? I whisper the dog's name, and he turns to look at me. That's when I notice that one of the black spots on his back is the shape of a lightning bolt. Another sign. You have to keep this dog. I can't help it. The words pop out. We really can't, Claire says. There's no room. We can put him in a travel kennel until something opens up, Noah suggests. He kicks a large crate near the door. We're not supposed to. Please, I say, do this and we'll enter all your adoption papers into the computer. Claire's face softens. You will? We will? Wendy asks. I nod. Every last one. I don't know. Please? I'm about to get on my knees and really beg, but Claire saves me the trouble. Okay. She hands us each a volunteer permission slip. It's shorter than the dog adoption form. Welcome to the Pet Hut team, she says. Chapter 20. On Friday, we turned in the second part of our project to Mr. Stoker before school. So you're going to volunteer at the Pet Hut? He asks. Lucy volunteered us to work in data entry, Wendy whines. She told me last night and again this morning on the bus that she thought our project was boring. They don't have a good system, I say. Most of their information is still on paper. So the problem is that the shelter has an antiquated filing system, and the solution is that you're going to update it? Mr. Stoker asks. I guess, Wendy says. It was Lucy's idea. She had a good reason, Levi adds. It's true that I did it to save a dog, but I'm really excited to get all the numbers and data. By looking through only 57 applications, I've already seen trends. Small dogs are adopted almost twice as fast as big dogs, at least in my sample. You don't like this project, Wendy? Mr. Stoker asks. She shrugs. I want to do something bigger. Like? We could run an adoption fair at Liberty Park, Wendy says. We could bring the dogs out to meet people. Okay, Mr. Stoker nods. Or the shelter always needs people to take the dogs for walks so they get exercise. The place has a designated walking trail in the back. You have to pick up dog poop in a plastic bag. Something I'm probably not physically capable of doing. Mr. Stoker doesn't say anything, so Wendy keeps talking. Maybe we could set up a program for retired people or homeschooled kids to go in and exercise and play with the animals. Or we could organize a pet food drive at school. Students could donate bags of food, and teachers could give them homework passes as a reward. All your ideas are great, Mr. Stoker says, but you need buy-in from everyone in the group. Give it some more thought. How can you help the shelter? How can each of you get something out of the experience? That's what I keep telling them. It doesn't take much to get Wendy excited. We can change lives. We can make a huge difference for the animals and their future owners and the whole town. Levi groans. Do you have any thoughts? Mr. Stoker asks Levi. I like hanging out with the dogs, he shrugs, and I want to see them find homes. Can you bring me some more ideas by next Friday? He looks at Levi and then at me. Definitely, Wendy answers. Great. Mr. Stoker stands up. The homeroom bell rings on cue. We'll talk about this at lunch, Wendy says. She takes our paper and goes to her desk. Can't wait, Levi says and glares at the back of Wendy's head. Our team may not survive this project. Be nice, I whisper. I need them not to kill each other long enough that I can finish playing with numbers from the pet hut. I move to my assigned seat. I sit, stand, sit, and wipe down my desk. No one really notices anymore. It's only weird now if we have a substitute. After the morning announcements, Mr. Stoker returns our math tests from Tuesday. He lays them face down on our desks. The average grade was 82. The highest grade was 95, and the lowest was 60. He gives us this data every time. The class is averaging an 83.75 so far, not including homework. I wish my classmates would get it together and pull up their grades. I want to be average, but I also want an A. I have to think about colleges for next year, and they will want to see more than my SAT scores. When Mr. Stoker gets to my desk, he leans over and says, "Nice job, a 92. Again." I look up. He raises his eyebrows and shrugs like he can't explain the coincidence that it's my math grade. Maybe next time I'll ace it, and then I'll blow one. Then I'll ace two more. I just have to be careful not to set up a pattern. Levi groans when he sees his grade. He got the 60. He flips his test over and starts to doodle on the back. Mr. Stoker moves to the front of the room. "Let's go over the test." He uses the overhead projector to put up the first 3 questions. Immediately, I see he's made a mistake in the second question. I got number 2 wrong on my test, but I did it on purpose. Did Mr. Stoker? He runs through the first problem. I play nervously with my lightning bolt necklace. "Any questions?" he asks. The class is quiet, except for an exaggerated yawn from the back row. Then Mr. Stoker walks through the second problem, outlining the steps with his red marker. "Stop, that's wrong," I think. I don't say anything. I can't. I stare at Maddie, willing her to speak up. She's the smartest kid in the class after me, but she doesn't seem to be paying attention. "Any question on number 2? Most of you got this problem wrong." "You did too," I think. He looks around the room. His eyes stop on me, and I look out the window. "Please, Maddie, say something. Speak." "Mr. Stoker?" Maddie calls out. I've never been so happy to hear her voice. Did my brain send a telepathic message? This is a new skill. "Yes?" "May I go to the bathroom?" Maddie asks. "Yes, Maddie." Mr. Stoker adjusts the overhead. Moving on. We'll be moving on too. So that's the end of chapter 20. So we'll keep on reading with chapter 21 starting tomorrow. So same on time. So thanks for tuning on in. Y'all have a great day. Make sure that you're working hard, taking care of each other, and most importantly, be safe. Y'all have a great day. And remember, range is the way.